Today, we're going to be discussing limited liability companies, or LLCs. When you start a business, you have a few options for how your company will be structured, and one of the more popular options is the LLC. We'll discuss the advantages of this business type and cover the basic process to start an LLC. First, let's define LLC. A limited liability company is a business structure created at the state level that allows the business owner to separate their professional and personal liabilities. This means that if an LLC gets sued or goes into debt, in most cases, only the company itself is held liable, not the individual owners. An LLC could be considered a hybrid between a sole proprietorship and a corporation, which enjoys positive attributes of both. The LLC's flexibility with management and taxes makes it similar to general partnerships and sole proprietorships. On the other hand, the fact that it offers liability protection makes it similar to a corporation. We're going to speak about LLC advantages in depth, including strong liability protection, credibility, flexibility, reduced paperwork, control over how profits are distributed, expanded tax options, and privacy. Because LLCs are legally separate entities from their owners, they offer strong liability protection, meaning that if the business is sued, the owner's personal assets such as their home are protected. Sole proprietors have no legal separation between the owner and the business. If a sole proprietorship is sued, it is the same as if the business owner was personally sued. In addition to offering liability protection to business owners, an LLC comes with more credibility than a sole proprietorship or general partnership. Being able to add an LLC suffix to your name makes your business appear more legitimate and can make it easier to win over potential business partners, investors, and clients. LLCs can come in different shapes and sizes. You can form a single-member LLC by yourself or a multi-member LLC with one or more partners. When it comes to running your business day-to-day, you can decide whether your LLC will be member-managed or manager-managed. A single-member LLC is a limited liability company with one owner. LLC owners are also called members. Having a single-member LLC is a lot like being a sole proprietor with the freedom to make decisions without partners or a board of directors, but the LLC structure provides legal separation between the member and business. With single-member LLCs, it's especially important to open a business bank account and keep your business and personal finances separate to make sure you maintain the legal separation between you and your LLC. A multi-member LLC is owned by more than one person. This structure not only protects LLC members from the company's liabilities, but also protects each member from damages against the other members. For example, if one member owed significant money to her creditor, the other LLC members couldn't be held responsible for that debt. LLCs can either be member-managed or manager-managed, depending on who is running the day-to-day operations. For a member-managed LLC, the owners run the LLC themselves. In many states, this is the default, meaning that if you don't specify otherwise in your operating agreement or articles of organization, your LLC will be member-managed. This structure often works best for smaller businesses that don't need or can't yet afford employees. Members have a say in every decision, so you have complete control over your business. With a manager-managed LLC, the owners appoint administrators to handle the company's everyday business. These managers are typically considered employees and receive a salary for their work. This might be a good idea if your LLC is large and you want to appoint managers who can make quick decisions rather than gathering all members for a vote on every issue. Another major advantage of an LLC versus a corporation is reduced paperwork. When you form an LLC, the state usually only requires basic information. By contrast, when forming a corporation, you will need to provide all of the information that would be required with an LLC, plus additional information such as names and addresses of initial directors and specifics about the amount of authorized shares and their classes and value. And unlike corporations, LLCs aren't required to hold annual meetings or record meeting minutes. Another advantage of LLCs over corporations is that LLC owners have more freedom to decide how they'll distribute profits to owners. By default, an LLC distributes profits based on ownership percentages, meaning that someone who owned 50% of the LLC would also receive 50% of the profits. but LLC members can decide on different rules for distributing profits by outlining them in an operating agreement. LLCs can also choose between multiple tax structures. By default, your LLC will be taxed as a pass-through entity, meaning your LLC's annual profits will be distributed to the members who report those profits as income on their personal taxes. In this case, members will pay the federal self-employment tax, which is 15.3%. However, your LLC can also elect to be taxed as a C corporation or S corporation. US-based LLCs that meet certain requirements may elect for S corporation classification. S corp LLCs can pay a portion of their profits as salary to employees, which can include members who provide services to the LLC. The LLC can then distribute the remaining profits to members as dividends, which aren't subject to self-employment taxes. This option tends to be better for higher earning LLCs. Finally, LLCs can offer business owners an extra layer of privacy if done correctly. When forming your LLC, you can hire a professional registered agent service like Northwest, who can help you maintain much of your privacy by keeping your name and address off the public record as much as possible. Now that we've covered the major advantages of LLCs, let's talk about how you form an LLC. Keep in mind that this process will vary by state. First, you will need to choose a name, making sure that no one else in your state is already using that name. Each state has an online database where you can search for your intended business name. In most states, you'll need to include limited liability company, LLC, or another variation in your business name. Once you have chosen a name, you'll need to designate a registered agent who will receive service or process on behalf of your business. You can be your own registered agent, appoint someone you know, or use a professional registered agent service like Northwest, which will help you maintain your privacy and give you peace of mind. You'll then need to file articles of organization in the state where you're forming your business. In most jurisdictions, you'll file this with the Secretary of State. However, the name of this document and the agency you file with may be different depending on your state. Once you've filed, you'll receive confirmation from the state when your LLC becomes active. We hope that this video has helped you to better understand what an LLC is, its benefits, and the formation process. We would love to further assist you in your business journey. Call Northwest Registered Agent to learn more about how to start your own LLC.